Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
Home sweet home. D-backs have made it back after a long road trip through Cleveland, Miami, and Washington. Back at last here at Chase Field to open up an 8-game homestand against 3 division rivals. Tonight, the first of 3 against the team just ahead of us in the NL West. It's the San Diego Padres. It's Mark Trumbo, Kurt Gibson, and the Diamondbacks against Bud Black's Padres right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume along the way. Bob Brenly has the weekend off. Glad to be joined for the first part of this homestand by Luis Gonzalez. Gonzo back in the broadcast booth. And Gonzo, from up here over the next several weeks, we're going to watch some of the young players the Diamondbacks have. Who have you seen that you like, and what have you liked about them?
Well, I mean, the Diamondbacks right now lead all of Major League Baseball in bringing up rookies this year. 18 rookies have come up to the major leagues this year, so there's a lot of new faces out there. The 2 guys that really stick out to me are the center fielder, Ender and Ciarte. This guy has been phenomenal. He's done everything on defense, leads rookies with 8 outfield assists. Offensively, he's been able to step into that leadoff spot and do a lot of bright things for the Diamondbacks to get them going. The other guy that we talk about now is the right fielder, David Peralta. This guy has stepped in, and he's been in the middle of the batting order, hitting third in a big league lineup, and he has not missed a step. He's playing like a veteran out there, leading all National League rookies out there with multi-hit games.
And he's certainly a National League Rookie of the Year candidate after starting last season in independent ball in Amarillo. He has been quite a story, just picked up on by John Morosi at FoxSports.com. Good article on there about David Peralta for you to read. So who's in the lineup tonight? Well, Cindy Brunson has that for us when we come back. And then it's first pitch, the Padres and the D-backs from back home at Chase Field. brought to you in part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink.
Out here in center field, ready to get you set for first pitch with the look at the starting lineups presented by Tire Pros. Joe Borowski, Cindy Brunson along the way. Your Diamondbacks are 8-5 in their last 13 games against the NL West. And here's who the Diamondbacks are going to be running out there. Batting leadoff for the D-backs will be Ender Enciarte, and he will be playing in center field. On all these guys backing up Josh Colementor. Joe?
Absolutely, Cindy. And you see Miguel Montero with what he's been able to do against the Padres this year. 313, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. He's going to have to need to stabilize that middle of the order. Hopefully David Peralta is starting to get back, starting to turn that corner. He went through a little bit of a slide, and you see the rookie Jake Lamb getting a start at third.
D-backs with wins of 3 of their last 4 against the Padres here at Chase Field. Leading off for San Diego and playing third, Yanhervy Solarte. This Padres team is going to be looking to provide run support for Odrisamir Despaigne, 3-4 on the season.
Yeah, and let's not overlook what Abraham Almonte's done for the Padres. 14 games he's been with them, hitting 333. Seth Smith's had a really solid year all year, but Jed Jerko, he's really done a great job. 22 games since the DL, 301 average, 9 extra base hits.
Definitely some folks to keep an eye on. We're all going to be watching Josh Colementor as he tries to bounce back from his worst outing of the season. He's got 6 wins here at Chase Field, looking to make that 7. It will be Steve Berthume and Luis Gonzalez with the call after this.
A road trip for them, 10 games, 11 days, 3 cities. Sound familiar? Now, they started in St. Louis, lost 3 of 4 to the Cardinals, just lost 2 of 3 at Dodger Stadium. Now here they are, first of 3 against the Diamondbacks. And for the D-backs, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher is Josh Colementor, his 22nd start, just 1 win since the end of June. And tonight looking for his first victory in more than a month. His pitching coach is Mike Harkey.
Josh already is not, he's not a high velocity guy. He has to rely on his command of his pitches. So I'm looking for him to get his command of his pitches back, to mix speeds and pitch inside.
Well, Josh started twice on the 10-game road trip, through 3 innings in the first game at Cleveland. That was wiped off the books by rain. He last pitched Sunday at Miami, and it did not go well. He was in trouble almost immediately. 5 runs on 7 hits, lasted only 4 innings. And Gonzo, there is concern about the low velocity and the fact that he's thrown a lot more innings this year than he did last year, and maybe he's kind of hitting a wall here.
Yeah, and I think so. And I think right now what's starting to happen is the simple fact that he's been used a lot as a swingman in the middle of his career, and now he came into a starter this year, had to throw a lot more pitches.
Hervey Solarte leads it off for the Padres, and we are underway. 1-3 at Chase Field this weekend. Glad you're with us on Fox Sports Arizona. Hervey Solarte, 25 games with the Padres, 263, 3 home runs. Right back to the mound. Duck and cover, 1 down.
Yeah, you talk about fielding your position right there. Those are the balls you always kid the pitchers about. They got to charge those balls when they're hit at you like that. That's just a reaction play right there by Colementor.
That's a little too close for comfort. By the way, we want to wish all the best to Mike Bolsinger down for the Reno Aces. He was hit last night by a line drive in the face and had to be hospitalized. But Mike tweeted out earlier today that he wants to thank all the Diamondback fans for the well wishes he received on Twitter, and he's doing just fine. And a very similar play happened to Bolsinger in the ball game last night. Abraham Almonte. And what to watch for early here in terms of Josh Colementor. This is what the Diamondbacks are watching, the radar gun. There was a significant decline in velocity the last time out for Josh, and there's concern that he's being a little bit fatigued so late in the year and throwing so many more innings than he did last season, as you can see there. All in relief last year. 92 innings. He's at 130-ish coming into tonight.
Well, so far,
pitch right there.
Just with that changeup at 77 miles an hour, his fastball's been clocked at 84 to 86 so far.
So he's already thrown about 40 innings more than he did all of last year. There's Almonte. And they will look early here for signs of fatigue, but a good start. He strikes out Almonte, 2 down.
Nice pitch by Colementor. He sees him way out in front on the changeup. A lot of hitters, after they get a changeup, they start looking for that fastball. He comes right back with it once again, and you see it dipping down and away for the strikeout.
A nice 1-2-3 first would really help Josh's confidence as they put the defensive overshift on for Seth Smith. Remember, he gave up those 2 long home runs in the first inning at Miami Sunday. Giancarlo Stanton and Garrett Jones. That's how they'll play defensively against the left-hand hitting Seth Smith, who has been their best and most consistent hitter this year, 296 and 12 homers. He's hit safely in 6 of his last 7 games. And you saw the OPS there for Seth Smith. Just under 900. That's 5th best in the National League. He is top 10 in the majors in OPS. On base percentage plus slugging percentage. Colementor ahead 0-2.
And Seth's been one of those guys back in the past. He was a great player off the bench. He's got a lot more opportunities now to play with a young ball club in the San Diego Padres.
He's been a good fit for that ballpark as well, Petco Park. In fact, Smith was acquired from Oakland over the winter. It looked like as a big left-hand bat he'd be an ideal target for contenders at the trade deadline. But he's worked out in San Diego so well for Bud Black, they just gave him a contract extension. He'll be sticking around for a couple of years. Gonzo, if I'm looking at Josh Colementor, other than the radar gun, is there anything that as a hitter you might look for in terms of body language that would suggest he's fatigued at this point in the year?
No, you know, you always want to go out there. I think most of the guys from the Padres know he's around the plate. And I think from the second hitter, they've seen that he's got a pretty good changeup going right now. So they're just going to try to look for something up in the zone, try to get it.
Set to Jose Valentin at first.
And the fact that he's thrown a lot of pitches makes you want to think when you're walking up to the plate that he wants to throw strikes. He wants to minimize his pitch count. So some of these hitters might be a little bit more aggressive early in the count.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. Josh has been able to go 6 innings only once in his last 4 starts. Trying to get deeper into the ball game. Little flare to left field. Alfredo Marte and Colementor does a nice job. 1-2-3 first. We are underway in downtown Phoenix. Chase Field. Steve Berthune, Luis Gonzalez with you this weekend. D-backs and Padres. Ender Inciarte set to lead it off. Against your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for San Diego, Odrisamer Despaigne. 10 career starts for the Cuban right-hander. He won his first 2 big league starts, including one against the D-backs at Petco Park. That was at the end of June. But he's won only one more since then. His manager is Bud Black.
I think we'll see a little different attack in the first inning as far as his strike throwing, pitching more aggressively early in the game.
Well, Despaigne does everything he can to mess you up out there. He will spin, he'll kick, he'll whirl around, and he will throw every pitch you can think of, and some you probably can't even think of. He is not a hard thrower. A lot of 2-seam sinkers, cutters. He'll go with the 4-seam fastball. All those pitches generally live between 88 92. Well, he's got a whole bunch of other stuff out there, and Ciarte fouls that back to the screen. Odrisamer Despaigne. He's got a changeup, a slider, a curveball, and a really slow curveball that'll just kind of drop in there several times over the course of the ball game. About 67 miles an hour or so, Gonzo. So he's like a Swiss Army knife out there. Whatever you need, he's got.
Yeah, he really is. And I think a lot of times with his fastball, he doesn't think it's very overpowering, so he likes to throw it away to a lot of these hitters.
Bounce to second base. Jed Jerko has it. Throws Inciarte out. One away.
Well, you talk about a lot of guys. Now we have a lot of rookies up here. There you see Inciarte hustling down the first baseline. A lot of these guys right now are auditioning for next year.
I think it's a big reason why the Kirk Gibson's ball club has played so hard despite some of the tough luck. It's a bunch of kids, and they know the deal here. They know this is, in a sense, a long audition for them. So there's no issues with guys not running out ground balls or not playing hard. Haven't seen any of that as far as I can tell.
They're putting the extra work in and the effort. The fact is, you just got to go out there and try to put it together out there on the field. So this is a game of adjustments, and at this level, they got to do it a lot quicker. And a lot of these guys pretty much getting on the job training because there's not a lot of veteran guys to help school these guys as you go along.
Yeah, that's true. All the veteran guys you might go to are, well, they're all either injured or in Reno rehabbing, right? There's not a ton of guys around to ask questions other than your coaches. You've got Goldie, who's there every day.
Well, and you talk about your change in the lineups from opening day. There's only 2 guys that are out there right now.
Slow roller. Jerko charges. Looks like Jake Gobert might have come off the bag a little early, but he is out, says Marty Foster. So 2 up, 2 down. This is the Padres defensively behind their Cuban right-hander. We've got Abraham Almonte and one of the new acquisitions in left field. Will Venable is in center. We've seen Seth Smith, Solarte, Amarista, Jerko, and Gobert at first. Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. Here's Peralta. How much do you think, Gonzo, that David Peralta was on the D-backs radar screen in spring training?
Well, I think they knew he can hit. It was just a matter of him going out there once again to Double-A and showing the team that he can do it.
And he finds a gap in left center field, and Peralta kicks it into high gear. He's thinking 3, and he's on his way. David Peralta, that's triple number 7. Boy, he is so impressive. When he sees that he might have a chance to round second and head for third, that diesel just cranks up.
It really does. And, you know, he seems like he's got a game plan every time he goes up to the plate. He studies. I don't know if it's the fact that he was a pitcher before and now that he's a hitter, but, man, this guy can fly going around the bases for a big guy.
Kicks it into Turbo and is in there standing. Triple number 7. And a runner at third with 2 outs for Mark Trumbo.
You know, Peralta really hasn't gotten all the respect that he's deserved this year from going out there and doing what he's doing.
Considering he was once a 21-year-old pitcher with 2 shoulder operations and no job.
Yeah, he's almost the same, well, close to the same case as a Rick Ankiel. Remember him?
Yep.
Couldn't find the strike zone. They all of a sudden made him a position player. Peralta looks like he's going to be a position player for a long time to come here.
And the guy who was in charge of making Rick Ankiel a position player for those Cardinals teams is Dave McKay. And Dave has often talked about the idea that Peralta is so much further along than Rick Ankiel was in terms of being a position player and a defender, because he's played the outfield in independent ball. It's not something completely new for him like it was for Ankiel. The foundation is there in terms of knowing, where to throw, where to run, that kind of thing. He's a lot farther along. Trumbo 233, 8 home runs.
You talk about how quickly things can change in a player's life or a person's life. He was playing independent ball a couple of years ago. Now he finds himself in the big leagues and doing well.
And again, there's a wonderful story written by the great John Morosi, who does a terrific job at Fox Sports covering baseball. It's at foxsports.com. There's a link to it, foxsportsarizona.com, talking about and with the scouts and the Diamondback front office people who found David Peralta playing independent ball in Amarillo, Texas, and watched him for a while. And suddenly here he is, a possible National League Rookie of the Year, a guy who was fighting with Peralta before that National League Rookie of the Year award, by the way. Billy Hamilton of the Reds just broke up a no-hitter in Cincinnati. Mike Minor, the Braves pitcher, had a no-hitter through 7 1/3 at Great American Ballpark. Just broken up by Billy Hamilton. 1-2 to Trumbo. Get through there, ball. Amarista, long throw. Trumbo up the line, and the run scores. Mark Trumbo has come a long way since that stress fracture in his left foot. He beats that one out. It's 1-0 D-backs.
Nice job by Trumbo getting a hanging breaking ball, hitting it in the 6-hole there. Long throw, good play by Amarista. Just a long throw to have to make. Not enough on it to get Trumbo.
I mean, he's a little dude, and he was a good 5-6 feet back on that outfield grass, and Trumbo has just enough to get up the line and keep the inning going, allowing the run to score. And that brings up Miguel Montero.
And the D-backs, the last 3 games were 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position, so we've already hit our mark. We're already on the plus side.
Miguel Montero down the right field line. That's a home run. Miggy time, his 13th. And it's 3-0 D-backs, just like that, all with 2 outs. Gonzo, he planked it, it looked like, right off the fence of the foul pole.
Yeah, he really did. You think these guys aren't happy to be home right now? Get a little home cooking. You see Miguel Montero getting a nice pitch down in the zone. He knew he got it when he hit it. Well, that's a sweet sound for a hitter right there. Not the sound off the bat, but the sound off the pole.
And after everything that this ball club has been through on that heartbreaking 10-game road trip, where they played the 10 games in 9 days after the rain out initially in Cleveland, and all the walk-off losses and the travel to late arrivals, this has got to feel great. 3 runs, all with 2 outs here in the first. Alfredo Marte, a ball and a strike.
And now you start to see a team play with a little bit of a swagger once they get that run lead early in the ball game, especially a young team.
It's got to be a relief, doesn't it? I mean, it's all the, forget the walk-off losses. To suffer those walk-off losses, it has to be a 1-run game. So you're playing all these tight games all on the road. Suddenly, little cushion here.
Yeah, just a little. They haven't had it the whole road trip. So, now you see a little more confidence. Some guys swinging the bat a little bit better now.
2-2 to Marte, who sits safely in 3 of his last 4 games. So Odrisamer Despaigne, who allowed only 1 run on 5 hits in 6 2/3. The last time he faced the D-backs, June 29th at Petco Park, has given up 3 in the first. And it's a full count on Marte.
He got beat on a couple balls down and in, so now he's starting to pitch away from contact because he's scared these guys to put some good swings on him, trying to go away with everything. He missed his spot on that one. The catcher was set up out and away. The ball ran up and in.
Henry Blanco and David Peralta, native Venezuelans. Henry's going to go coach, or manage, I should say, winter ball in Venezuela after the season. Tapper back to the mound. Espana goes top shelf and throws him out. But a triple, a single, and a home run by the D-backs, all with 2 outs, have made it a 3-0 D-backs lead through 1. Here it is.
Number 17.
Well, this is what we told you about moments ago. The Braves, Mike Minor, 4 outs away from a no-hitter. And that one off the bat of rookie Billy Hamilton drops in at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati and breaks up the no-no. Michael Minor, a no-hitter through 7 2/3, but Hamilton took care of that. That's a 1-1 ball game right now, 8th inning at Cincinnati. Here it's 3-0 D-backs lead the Padres. Jed Jerko leads off the second against Josh Colmenter. And I'm here with a good luck charm. Luis Gonzalez. So you got more runs in 1 inning than Bob Brenly delivered almost on an entire 10-game road trip.
Well, we had to go to the bullpen. That's why I'm here.
Right.
Now, we gave Brenly a couple days off so I can come in here and try to get us some runs.
It's working so far. High fly ball right center field. Ender Inciarte has it. 4 up, 4 down against Colmenter. Of course, like cold hard facts, Josh Colmenter, his ERA almost half what it is on the road. He feels nice and comfortable here in his home ballpark.
Well, you look at that differential, 2.84. He's the best in the major leagues, so there's no doubt he's one of those guys likes pitching at home.
Yasmani Grandal. And once again, the Diamondbacks go into the overshift. Grandal, a switch hitter. He's much better as a left-hand hitter. That's where he's got all his power. In fact, all 10 of those home runs have come from the left-hand side.
Well, I think what the D-backs did, spotting Colmenter 3 runs early, he can attack the strike zone now and not have to nibble around the plate, just go right after these guys.
And that's going to keep his pitch count down, keeping the ball game a little bit longer, which has been the issue or the concern, certainly. Having gone 6 innings only once in his last 4 starts.
Well, just keep the ball in the ballpark and let your defense do the work.
Ender Inciarte, 2 down. Well, fans, it's that time again. The Brenly committee is adjourned, so Gonzo and I will do the best we can with the fan photos. So tweet us your fan photo with the Twitter or the hashtag of the whole thing, AZFanPhoto. To have your fan photo shown later in our broadcast. You feel up to that? That's another challenge.
It's a lot of pressure, but I think we're up to it today.
Throwing a lot at you here.
Sifting through the files right now as we speak.
Get you a $4 beer afterward. Nice, eating healthy at the ballpark.
You're not going to eat it, are you?
Show us your food. It's good. Good healthy choices here at Chase Field. We like that. Jake Gobert. And other guys, it's not quite as healthy. But
yeah, that's more my speed right there.
I'm right there with you. Gnawing on that thing like a dog with a bone. There's the strike, 1-2. The Cowboy. Joe West is our plate umpire tonight. The crew chief. Gobert, 281 and a homer. 29 games in the big leagues. A rookie at the age of 26. He's striking out a lot. Oh, flared, shallow right center, but Inciarte makes all 3 outs in the inning. 6 up, 6 down against Colementor. He's got a 3-0 lead. Conditioning and plumbing. Choose Chad's. Back at Chase Field. Good to be back home. Glad you're with us on Fox Sports Arizona. Steve Berthiaume, Luis Gonzalez along the way. Bob Brenly has the weekend off. Gonzo is here, and he's delivered 3 runs so far. Lamb leads off the second against Odrisamer Despaigne, the Cuban defector.
Well, I think Lamb's had a couple struggles here early, and this is part of being a young player and trying to make adjustments. And you know, I really like his approach at the plate. I just think he holds his hands a little far back, and a lot of teams are coming in there on him. You see it right there, that same pitch.
Is that a big swing for you?
You know, he's a power hitter, but his hands are so far back, and by the time he gets them going to those inside pitches, you see a lot of teams pounding him inside. If they throw that ball out over the plate, he's going to be able to extend his arms.
Went down and got that one. Alexi Amarista. And Jake Lamb has got a base hit to lead off the second. Amarista's getting to everything at shortstop. He's just not in a good spot to throw it.
There he got another pitch inside, kind of kept his hands in, but stayed to the middle of the field. And those feel good, especially when you've been struggling a little bit to get that infield hit. That might get him going.
What about Didi?
Well, I saw Didi earlier today down in the video room. He's doing one of those guys, he's over processing right now, just thinking a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And, you know, these guys, a lot of these young players, they need to be out there every single day playing to try to get in a groove.
I mean, he was really in a groove before. He had about a 2-week stretch when he hit over 325, 4 extra base hits, couple of home runs, looked to be on his way offensively.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that he was playing every day.
Right, but since then, he fouls this one off his foot here. But since that run where he was really hitting the ball, right now he's 2 for 33. So big swings here from Didi.
Yeah, and I think for that reason, there comes with the inconsistency of not playing every day. I think he plays a couple games, then gets a day off, and we have so many middle infielders right now that he's taking a lot of time off, especially when he's struggling.
And his bat really came alive just after the All-Star break and right before the long road trip. A couple of home runs, the .325 average, but since then it has been a struggle. But he's also hardly overmatched up there. There were at-bats last year, Gonzo, where Didi looked a little overmatched, especially against left-handers. But we have not seen that this year. He's not striking out during this slump. He's only struck out 4 times during the 2 for 33, but simply just not finding any holes right now.
Yeah, and a lot of times this game is mostly played between the ears. Once that mind is right, you get everything going.
Nice backhand scoop right there by Gobert at first. Lamb moves up, 1 away. How do you get a kid like that out of his own head? Get him to step back and just kind of play again.
Well, you just tell him not to worry about anything. Just go up there and swing. Don't worry about your numbers right now. You just got to go out there and play the game hard. There's a reason you're in the big leagues, because you've impressed enough people to get up here. Just got to go out there and play the game and have fun. When you're going well, you don't think about anything. When you're struggling at the plate, you start breaking down your swing, where you're stepping, what you're doing. You see the frustration a little bit in Didi.
Because you want to take advantage of the resources that are available to you, like the video rooms and the coaches and things, right?
Absolutely.
But maybe sometimes it's best just to get back in there and start swinging. Didi still hobbling a bit in the dugout after fouling that pitch off his foot. Ryan DePanflo, the assistant trainer, kind of following him around, making sure that he's okay. There's Ryan. 1-0 to Coleman. Lamb on second, 1 out.
We got a lot of great young players up there. If this nucleus of kids, Lamb and your Didis and your Owings when he comes back, we've got some pretty good players. Inciarte. I mean, these guys, a lot of these guys, yeah, they weren't on the radar screen when we started spring training. We weren't expected to have these guys up here due to a lot of injuries and different things that have happened. These guys have had to be rushed in the process to get here.
Is there value in that?
There is in the long run. I think right now there's a lot of frustration because the fans want to see teams winning and things like that. But if these guys stick together, the core of guys there, you see Pollock getting ready to come back on a rehab.
Olmenter slaps it to the right side. Zerko throws him out. Lamb moves to third, 2 down. They're going to have Chris Owings and A.J. Pollock at Reno, and Daniel Hudson will join him there.
Center field, Inciarte.
Brings up the leadoff man, Ender Inciarte. Ender grounded out his first time.
Well, those 2 guys right there on the screen got hurt. That was a huge blow to the Diamondbacks. And first Pollock, who was doing a great job out there.
Well, he had improved so much.
I thought he was on his way to having his first All-Star game.
He was making a strong case, and he looked like an all-star. He was playing like one, and it just could not come at the worst time for AJ, because you saw the progression. You saw why he was drafted ahead of Mike Trout. Somebody saw something there, and we began to see it at this level day and day and day after one another, and he just looked so good. Doubles, home runs, diving catches. Jed Jerko drops it into right field. Jake Lamb scores. It's another run, 4-0. A little slow roller hit right to the Padres second baseman, and he just kicked it.
Well, he went back to field that ball, kept going back into the grass, and then he realized Inciarte, quick runner, took a peek up.
Maybe he expected it to hit the dirt and hit the grass just behind and snuck under the glove, so that's an error on Jed Jerko. Lamb scores 4-0. Here's Pennington. And in between all this, Gonzo, like we talked about, looking at all these young guys, and especially in the middle infield, you've got some veterans like Cliff Pennington. We'd like to get some playing time in there. Aaron Hill, another one. Aaron's getting the night off tonight. How do you balance all that?
Yeah, and I think you'll see most of those guys play like the next series when the Dodgers come into town. It's more of a veteran club, and you're playing. The games mean a lot more because you got a chance to try to make an impact in the standings.
Cliff has certainly been making an impact. He has really hit well since coming back from that thumb injury.
You talked about Pollock earlier being hurt, and it gave Inciarte an opportunity to come up. When he first came up, he was not playing well. He was like 3 for 30 or 40, and then now he got his second opportunity to come back, got a little taste of coffee, and
here he goes. Ender Inciarte. Throw from Grandal is high, and Ender has his 10th stolen base. Yeah, when he first came up, he was 4 for his first 36. But over his last 65 games, he's hit .285. He's been an impact player both defensively and on the bases.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that has to do with he's coming to the ballpark knowing that he's going to play. And when you're a young player like that and you come to the park, you know you're going to be in the lineup, and you've been playing with a little swagger, and you know, you feel good. You feel good when you get here.
He's in scoring position now. I mean, this is a 65-game major league look at a player that, without the injury, and no one wants any injuries, but without what happened to A.J. Pollock, you would have no idea what you have in Ender Inciarte. Now you do. Now you know.
And now he knows that he can play at this level, and now he puts the pressure on the team to decide, okay, do we keep this guy? Because there's going to be another big league club out there that knows what he can do now in the big leagues. And if there's an opportunity for him to go play somewhere else, maybe there's a trade possibility.
Well, that exact scenario took place, I think, in right field with David Peralta and Gerardo Parra, and they made their choice. Now, economics factored into it, because Parra you're going to have to pay in arbitration, so you save yourself some money there, certainly. But unless you have faith in the young guy like Peralta or Inciarte, you can't make that move. But based on what they've seen, they decided that they could.
Yeah, and then, you know, it'll be interesting, too, because then, you know, like the next series coming in, the Dodgers are going to be, you know, they're amped up coming in here. They're playing for something. Then our guys get fired up, especially with the fans and different things that go on out there on the field. Then, you know, those are more high-impact games, more pressure games for these young players. That's how you want to see how they respond.
I always say the key to sustained success, scout, draft, and develop. Well, part of developing is living with a learning curve of a young player like Inciarte or Peralta. Got to give him a chance to get in there and throw him in the deep end. Called strike 3, says Joe West. Cliff Pennington was ready to take his base, but that'll be the inning. Diamondbacks add one more, and through 2 they lead it 4-0.
You know, obviously it's part of the game. You know, I think he might be a little bit fatigued, even though that he doesn't feel like, but he haven't thrown that many innings in a long time, so it's understandable.
Our Geico quote of the game from catcher Miguel Montero behind the plate right now, talking about his pitcher Josh Comenter, who throws strike 1 to Will Venable. And the concern after Josh had a rough time of things in his last start Sunday at Miami that he might be getting fatigued. The velocity was way down. But so far so good. Venable drives this one deep to center field. Inciarte has room. Deepest part of the ballpark. That's one of the things, Gonzo, that Ender Inciarte has shown he can do really well. Cover a ton of ground out there in center.
Well, he can. And when you have a guy in center field like that, that's the kind of guy you want that can cover all that ground. Well, he's focused in on that baseball.
Knows where the wall is, which is so much a part of that. Makes a nice easy catch. 7 up, 7 down for Josh. Here's Alexi Amarista. And you're talking about what Miguel Montero was speaking to, the loss of velocity and the struggles for Cole Mentor his last time out against the Marlins. Josh said that he felt fine, that there was no injury concern, and that's of course when you see a big drop in velocity like that, the first thing you think is, okay, hopefully he's not hurt. He says he's fine. He's at 87 tonight so far. At Marlins Park over the weekend, he was low to mid 80s at best. That's where he topped out, and that's where you get a little worried. But Josh met with Kirk Gibson the next day once we got to Washington, and Gibby told him, the reporters, that Josh said he just felt a little sluggish. That was all, just over the glove of Jake Lamb at third and into left. So that's the first hit for the Padres. Josh went in there and told his manager, look, I just feel a little sluggish. One of those days. No reason for concern. Said his shoulder felt fine. There's no elbow pain. He's fine. He's one of those days. But you're going to get to a point here tonight, in fact, where he's going to be 40 innings over what he threw last year. And that's a lot. So they are watching closely.
Well, you talk about size in the game. Look at Amarista standing next to Trumbo there.
One of the great things about baseball, isn't it?
It's beautiful. Size means nothing in this ball game.
You got the little ninja, they call him down there at 5'6", 150. Alexi Amarista. Here's Odrisamer Despaigne, the pitcher. Jake Lamb well in on the grass at third. Miggy, well, they would have had Amarista dead to rights down there, but Trumbo came in off the bag to cover the bunt, and there was nobody home at first. Amarista was halfway to second there. Watch Miguel Montero. He wants to throw it down there. There's nobody home, though. He would have had a play there. Fans at that one. Now he's down 0-2.
Boy, that pitch wasn't even close. He just took a swing at it.
Odrisamer Despaigne from Cuba, signed by the Padres in May. Played for a long time with Industriales, 8 seasons with them in the Cuban League. He flares one out to shallow right center. Ender Inciarte is there. He can cover the deepest corner of center field. He can come in and play a shallow gap in right center.
Well, we talked about him in the open, how much defense has come big for him. The last 5 outs that D-backs have made have all been hit to Ender Inciarte, and he's done it all out there.
All 3 in the second, first 2 here in the third. F8, and here's the leadoff man for the Padres, Yangervis Solarte.
I think what made that play so well is Inciarte knew exactly where to play, knew the pitcher was up, was playing on the right side of second base.
He was where he was supposed to be, right?
Exactly. And I think, a lot of these guys are learning, too. Learning how to play different guys, different situations in the count. 2-0, 3-1. Guys are behind in the count, try to go the other way. And that's how you learn how to play defense out there in the big leagues.
Well, it's the first season for Solarte, acquired from the Yankees in the Chase Headley deal. And it was July 22nd. Just 25 games with San Diego. He's hit .263 with 3 homers.
Fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every D-backs win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online. Order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
That's the BB promo, the pizza.
There it is.
Anything pizza related is Bob Brenly. Hard to right, Peralta coming in, it drops in front. Amarista heads for third. Here's the throw! Got him! David Peralta throws out the little ninja, and that ends the third. What a game for our young outfielders in Arizona. Inciarte makes 5 straight outs, and Peralta guns out Amarista to win the inning. Oh, how about the defensive inning for the Diamondback outfielders, Gonzo? Inciarte in center and Peralta in right.
Well, there's no doubt the Venezuelan dynamic duo are doing it all out there today, catching and throwing and fielding, doing it all.
Remember, of course, Peralta, the former pitcher in the Cardinal organization, fires a strike to Lamb at third. And that's it. Arco, top-tier player of the game. Most hits among National League rookies since late June. Inciarte and Peralta right behind Billy Hamilton, who broke up Mike Minor's no-hitter in the 8th inning tonight in Cincinnati. That game is now in extras, 1-1 in the 10th, Braves and Reds. Peralta tripled and scored his first time up. Mike Bell, the D-backs director of player development, remembered to John Morosi in his story at FoxSports.com on David Peralta. Remembered sitting behind Kevin Towers at a game this spring, and remember Peralta was not in big league camp. He was added, just needed a body to fill out a roster for one game. And Venable tracks that one down. And they saw Peralta hustling into second base after hitting what looked like a routine infield single. He stretched it into a double. And Mike Bell said KT turned and asked him, does he always run that good? And Bell told him, I can tell you this, he always runs that hard. And that, said Mike Bell, was a great example of one seemingly innocuous play from some random spring game that planted a seed in a GM's mind about a guy. And now look where David Peralta is. That's where it started.
Well, you talk about him doing what he's doing up there offensively. He only had 1,308 professional at-bats. 410 of them were in affiliated minors, and 898 of them in independent baseball.
He played in leagues that don't even exist anymore, and this was just a couple of years ago.
He went from a lot of bus rides to airplane rides now.
Signed by the Cardinals as a pitcher in 2005, 2 seasons in the St. Louis system in rookie ball. Went 2-6 as a pitcher with a 5.69 ERA. 2 shoulder injuries. And then vanished after the 2007 season. Went home to Venezuela to reinvent himself as a baseball player. Cut loose at the age of 21. 4 years later, he's off the grid for 4 years. Shows up playing independent ball. with the Rio Grande Valley White Wings in the North American League, which is gone now. 2-2 to Trumbo. Peralta shows up there, hits .392. And then another year of independent ball. The Wichita Wingnuts in the American Association, which is still breathing. Played 98 games there, hit .332. 70 RBIs in 98 games. And then last year began playing independent ball again, this time in Amarillo. That's where the D-backs got him. Signed him in July last year as a minor league free agent. Played the back half of the season for Visalia. He hit .346. He was among the offensive leaders in the Southern League with Mobile this year when he was called up and made his big league debut June 1st. Solarte at third makes a tremendous play. Their new third baseman on Hervey Solarte, the former Yankee.
A great play right here down the line, just extends out, makes a long throw across the diamond. Good solid throw.
This is a guy they like. He's a pretty decent hitter, a switch hitter. He's 27 years old. His first season in the big leagues after almost a decade in the minors. But they traded Chase Headley, who's bound for free agency, to the Yankees. He's over there playing with Martin Prado. And in that deal, they got Hervey Solarte, who they think has a future in San Diego. As you saw there, the overshift is on for Miguel Montero, who homered off the foul pole in the right field corner his first time up. His 13th of the year.
Despaigne started him off with a changeup the first pitch.
This was Miggy back in the first after Peralta had tripled, Trumbo had singled. Montero a two-run shot. Bangs the gong out there. Dreesemer Despaigne is a real junk ball guy. He's got the kitchen sink out there. Darren Balsley is their pitching coach, and he says the key to success for Despaigne is he'll throw everything at you. Difficult for the opposition to study 12 different pitches, and that's what he's got. Because everything that Despaigne throws up there with a leg kick and the whole thing comes from an arm slot that will go at a high three-quarter, low three-quarter, sidearm.
It looked like he did that to Trumbo. He dropped down on him a couple times.
Walk to Miggy. He's aboard for the second time. A two-out walk will bring up Alfredo Marte. And this is what it looks like when you're facing Dreesemer Despaigne. Look at the arm slot. How do you pick that up as a hitter? What difference does that make for you?
Boy, you try to pick him up, but he's a guy like Livan Hernandez. Remember Livan?
Sure.
Who played here for the Diamondbacks? He'd throw you a slow curveball, and then he'd drop down and come back over the top. Now you just try to focus in on just seeing the ball after a while. You try to pick up his release point, but when he has so many different release points, you start focusing in on just trying to see the ball and hit it.
So if a guy has the same release point or same arm slot all the time, you kind of focus as a hitter in on an area or a zone where you think you're going to see the hand. But if that moves around, it takes it out of the equation, right?
Absolutely. Then you try to pick up his motion and see what he's going to try to do then, rather sooner than later, because you're trying to pick up the ball as quick as you can. Try to react to it.
Marte drives this to center field. Venable at the wall. Will Venable tracks it down. That's the end of the third. D-backs lead the Padres 4-0. Classic TV night. Watch the Gimme Bunch take on the Rockies. And don't forget, you can get this special A-Team t-shirt only if you buy the special Classic TV night ticket package. T-shirt available only with a purchase of the special ticket offer. And to get your ticket package, visit dbacks.com/events. That's a cool looking shirt. By the way, did you watch Rhoda as a kid at all? Remember? Hello, this is Carlton, your doorman. And Shirley of Laverne and Shirley fame. Hello, ladies. Lenny and Squiggy, the whole thing. 4-0 D-backs and Padres as we start the fourth with Abraham Almonte. Right to Trumbo. 1 pitch, 1 out. Josh Comenter retired tonight. The first 7 he faced. He's given up only 2 singles. And he's rolling along here so far with a 4-0 lead.
That's the way you want to do it. You want to be effective with your pitches. So that first one in there, you know they're going to be swinging.
Seth Smith. And the shift is on once again. Jake Lamb, the third baseman. You can see him moving right in the middle of your picture there. Near the second base umpire, Gabe Morales. With Pennington, the second baseman. A couple of steps back in right field for Smith. And Didi all by himself halfway between second and third.
Well, you know, when I played, there was only a couple times that they did the shift to me and square around and get a couple bunt base hits. That stops after a while. So
now, how did you deal with this business?
I dropped a bunt down once in a while. I'm not too proud out there. I'll take whatever they give me.
But doesn't that, in one sense, play into their hands? Because I'm sure back in the day, if we hold Luis Gonzalez to a bunt single, we'll take that.
Well, there's only 1 out in the inning. I mean, if there's 2 outs, nobody on, you got a chance to pop one out of there, then I could see it. But I mean, you're talking about a guy hitting in the middle of the order here. They're just giving you a free base hit. I mean, that's what you're trying to do anyway. You're not going up there to swing for a home run.
Well, this has become, as we've seen time and time again, Trey Sheik in the major leagues, the defensive overshift, especially with good left-hand hitters like Seth Smith. Last year, there were about 7,600 plate appearances in the major leagues in which one of the teams employed the shift. But this year, over 11,000 already. As Comenter strikes out Smith, that's his second strikeout. So 7,600 shifts last year, 11,000 this year already. So we're going to end up probably with double the amount we saw last year. So now everybody's doing it.
See, Seth's a good hitter, and he struck out. He should have bunted. Would have got a base hit.
I can't argue with you.
That's the way I look at it.
Here's Jed Jerko. Flying out to center his first time.
Well, you're seeing a lot of teams do, now starting to beat that with a runner on first. They steal second. Then when he covers the bag, there's nobody at third. He just Pedroia's done that a couple times.
There's always, as in everything in baseball, an adjustment to the adjustment. Whether you're a hitter, a pitcher, a team trying to decide where to put its fielders. Jed Jerko is just happy to be playing anywhere. He missed 45 games from the beginning of June until the very end of July. He had a painful left foot injury. Since he's been back, though, he's hit better than he has all year, over 300. 20 RBIs in his last 22 games. And the season for Jerko really started badly. He was 4 for his first 32, and it went downhill from there. And then he got hurt. A little flare, shallow right center. Cliff Pennington is out there. And we'll go to the home half of the fourth, the Grand Canyon. Good to be back home in the great state of Arizona. Diamondbacks lead at 4-0. 1999 on this day. The Pirates' Jason Schmidt, which I could never say, and still can't. Gonzo, Matty, and Rubio Durazo.
I'd like to think we hopefully won that game, hitting back-to-back, although there were solo shots, all three of them.
Now you got the alumni game coming up after the ball game here on next Saturday, the 30th. Don't forget that's Bob Brenly bobblehead day. And we're going to see a Rubio Durazo in that game. Now you're preparing your side, right?
Oh, we're getting ready, and I think
what do you got?
I think all the guys are coming back just for the bobblehead alone. Everybody wants Brenly's bobblehead.
Hot item.
Yeah, we're all excited. Everybody's, the former players always look forward to this time of the year to come back. And
you're a captain, and Greg Swindell is a captain.
Yep.
Did you figure out how you're going to choose up sides?
Well, I'm going to get a sneak peek at who's coming early and try to.
So you're going to cheat?
If I can, yeah.
Sure, all right.
Trying to win the game.
David DeLucci, Rubio Durazo, Steve Finley, Travis Lee, Rodrigo Lopez, who was actually practicing in Cleveland when we were there. And you got bullpen catcher Mark Reed to catch for him. So Rodrigo is firing up the old arm. 0-2 on Lamb now.
Rodrigo still pitches in the Mexican League.
He's going to pitch this winter in the Mexican League. Joe West rings up Lamb. Second strikeout for Despaigne. There's Rodrigo. D-back Spanish language radio broadcast. And Oscar over there. Yeah, he's going to pitch in the alumni game and then just keep going.
Yeah, he's always ready. I mean, he's a competitor, so he's going to go out there and try to do what he can to get some outs.
Despaigne 60 pitches, 39 for strikes. Reggie Sanders, Junior Spivey, Kelly Stinnett, Mike Morgan, of course, Brandon Webb. They'll all be taking part. So don't forget, fans, get your tickets now. dbacks.com/tickets. That is a week from Saturday, August 30th. Diamondbacks and Rockies. Bob Brenly bobblehead day, alumni night, the throwback uniforms, purple, teal, the whole thing. And the highlight will be Captain Luis Gonzalez against Captain Greg Swindell in their third annual alumni game. Now, any contract demands for the alumni game? So guys, you want an envelope, anything?
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Holding out?
Some guys were asking for private planes and things like that.
I mean, this is like college football recruiting, you and Swindell.
Yep.
You got to go down there and make a sales pitch. What are you offering? What's Swindell offering?
Well, we got great fans, and they want to see a good show, so we go out there and try to give them everything we got without pulling hamstrings and things like that. So
it's going to be a fun day, so we hope you join us here at the ballpark. Coming up next Saturday, little tapper back to the mound. Despaigne throws him out. There it is. What's it like? Here's a dumb question. Why should I stop now? What's it like having your number up on the wall? What does that mean when you see that up there with Jackie Robinson's 42? What's that mean to you?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, just the simple fact that you play this game to earn the respect of your teammates and the fans, and to know that an organization has honored you with that, putting your number up there, it means a lot to me.
Because not a lot of guys that have that.
No, and when I came here in 1999, I was just trying to fit in with the rest of the guys, and it was a great bunch of guys. And to go out there and do what we were able to do in such a short period of time, it just, makes you realize how special a group of guys that is, because you don't get your number up there without playing with good people around you, and that's what I was able to do here.
So when you're in an alumni game, do you have flashbacks? Does it feel like it did then, even just for a moment here or there?
Once in a while, until you start moving.
Josh Gomenter bangs that into center. A 2-out single. Things don't work like they did before when you're belting all those homers, making diving catches, the whole thing.
Well, diving catches wasn't part of more of hitting homers was my thing. Steve Finley, I had a great center fielder, so I had Steve cover as much as he can, and I'll just play the line and let him cover everything else.
What did BB always tell you about your defense?
Drive in more than I let in.
That's it, drive in more than you let in.
It's like hockey. I got to be on the plus side by the end of the.
Ender Inciarte.
BB would always threaten me with giving me a day off. See, I'm thinking of, you're looking kind of sluggish. I'm thinking of come on, BB. nobody wanted to come out of the lineup ever with that group of guys. And he said, no, I'm kind of thinking about it. And as the game goes on, if I had a good hit, I'd look over there and say, hey, I'm not coming out.
So you played right into his little trap set for you.
Well, I mean, everybody always says, oh, you guys had a veteran team and stuff. You got to have good leaders, and he was one of those guys. I mean, he knew how to push certain players' buttons, and, there's different characters on teams. I mean, like now with the Diamondbacks, you have so many young players. You got to be able to read, who needs to be cuddled a little bit more, and some of these guys need a swift kick in the rear once in a while and things like that. So you have to figure those guys out in spring training and things like that, and who needs to be pushed sometimes and who needs to be challenged. That guy right there, I don't think needs to be challenged. He's been to the bottom, and now he's worked his way back at the top.
Every day for him, he'll tell you, is like a dream come true. That one bit Inciarte, and Ender is limping off.
Talk to him. He's been in the minor leagues.
This has happened a lot lately to Ender Inciarte.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
And on the inside of that front leg. Joe West is going to give him a moment to walk it off.
More times than not, when that happens to a hitter, that pitcher's going to go right back in there, down and in. See if he does it here. He's going to go away.
Rounds to second. Janjurko throws him out. We are through 4 at Chase Field. The D-backs lead the Padres 4-0. Wednesday at 6 o'clock for the D-backs and Fox Sports Arizona charity broadcast to benefit the D-backs Give Back Youth Jersey program. If you donate $50 during the game broadcast only, you'll get a mystery ball signed by a current Diamondbacks player. A $100 donation gets you 2 mystery balls, 1 current player and 1 alumni. And $200, well, you get all kinds of stuff. 2 mystery balls and a Tony La Russa autographed Hall of Fame ball signed by the new Hall of Famer and now Diamondbacks CBO, Tony La Russa. All that coming up. It's going to be a big broadcast August 27th, Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Hope you'll join us on Fox Sports Arizona. We're here at Chase Field. Good to be back home. 5th inning. Steve Berthume, Luis Gonzalez with you. Yasmani Grandal leads off the 5th against Josh Clemente, who has really pitched well so far. He's given up only 2 hits, both singles. 2 strikeouts, has not walked a batter.
No, and he's pitched aggressive, gone right after the guys, pitching to contact.
45 pitches, 33 for strikes, and the shift is on for Grandal, who flied out to center his first time.
See, right here, I'd bunt. You're down 4 runs.
Need base runners.
It's not like he's throwing a no-hitter. He's already given up 2 hits, so you're not disrespecting the game. You just go right at him and just drop a bunt.
Well, you got a semi-power hitting catcher up there. All kinds of room on the left-hand side. And it's in there for a strike, 1-2. Here's the defensive alignment.
I mean, they're giving it to you. You're hitting 204 leading off an inning. It's not like you've been, you know what I mean?
I feel you. This is a guy that has had a disastrous offensive season, Yasmani Grandal, their catcher. Hit about 250 in April. Looked like he'd be on his way offensively, but then the rug came out from under him. And he slumped badly the next 2 months. There's a hard hit ball right into the shift, and a nice spinning throw by Jake Lamb, the third baseman, playing on the first base side of second. So that goes down as a 5-3 putout, even though it was hit directly to where the second baseman would have been.
Should have bunted.
Nice play there by Jake, who has always been scouted as a plus defender at third. One out now for Jake Gobert, the first baseman. He's hit safely in 4 straight, flied out his first time. Adrisamer Despaigne in a struggle, gave up 3 in the first and 1 in the second. Bullpen busy for the Padres. Adrisamer Despaigne from Cuba, signed by San Diego only in May. It's been a crazy year for him. This is a deep fly ball carved out there to left field, but Marte, a step or 2 in front of the track, has it 2 down. Fans, if you're between the ages of 10 and 14 and you'd love to join us up here in the booth, come out Sunday for the final Fox Sports Arizona and Sanderson Ford Kidcaster audition this year. Head out to the Sandlot, 11:30 to 1:30, and we'll see you up here. Will Venable. So we'll see what happens with Despaigne. Padres bullpen busy. Pitcher spot is coming up. You've got Venable, then Amarista, and then Despaigne scheduled to hit, but there are 2 outs in the inning. Despaigne signed in May, couple of starts with AA San Antonio, 5 starts with AAA El Paso. He went 1-3. The ERA was over 6, but with so many injuries in their rotation, Padres brought him up to the big leagues less than 2 months after they signed him out of Cuba. So he's been through quite a journey this year. He was playing for the Cuban national team, and last year defected while they were playing in Europe. And there he is, pitching at Chase Field in the big leagues.
He's putting his batting gloves on. I'm pretty sure if his turn comes up here, he ain't going to be hitting.
Down 4-0. Yeah. Bud Black is bench coach. Dave Roberts. That's a fair ball up the first base line. Nice hop for Trumbo, and Colmentor is rolling. He's retired 6 in a row. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Coming up for the Diamondbacks in the 5th. Pennington, Peralta, Trumbo. ERAs rolling along. Royals are 2, and the Nationals 10-game winning streak sapped tonight. In D.C., Giants beat him. They beat Doug Fister. Odrisamer Despaigne was out there with his pants down while we're doing this. Now he's all buckled up and ready to go, but he was, getting dressed out there on the mound. Needed a moment. Walked over to third and tucked everything back in there and buckled up, and here we go. He is working again with his countryman as his battery mate, Yasmani Grandal, the catcher. Cliff Pennington leads off the fifth. It's the first time since 1969 that a team has been able to start a pitcher and catcher both from Cuba in the same game. Prior to Despaigne's major league debut earlier this year, last time it had happened was June of 1969 with Ted Williams' Washington Senators. That's a two-hopper. It goes through. Jerko's had a tough night at second. He let an easy ground ball get under his glove for a run in the second inning with 2 outs. And now Pennington's aboard to lead off the fifth.
He did. He squared that ball up. Just ate Jerko up at second base.
So Pennington's aboard for Peralta, who tripled and scored in the first. Go back to those 69 Senators. They had Camilo Pascual on the mound and Paul Casanova behind the plates. Ted Williams' first season as the Senators manager. That one is a rocket in the seats. And so there's a comfort level here for Odrisamer Despaigne, who, as we told you, just defected last year. And so he's able to pitch with another Cuban out there as his catcher. That really helps.
The communication process is a lot easier out there for him. And try to stay in under his hands.
Pumped it up to 92. He's ahead 0-2.
They don't want him to get his arms extended. They've seen what he can do. Most left-handers like that ball either down or out over the outer half of the plate.
Oh, right on the hand. The catching hand. Came down on the top. And Despaigne is all mixed up out there. Wants to run through the signs one more time.
Joe West back behind the plate. He's been around the game for a long time.
The Cowboy.
Yeah, he doesn't like when those pitchers and catchers fall behind. He's seen a lot of good games in his lifetime.
He has a reputation, and it's well deserved, of being an excellent balls and strikes umpire. There's that little 70-mile-an-hour dazzler that strikes out Peralta. There's the Gonzo shirt. Recognize that hat.
Either.
A lot of purple out there in the seats and on the walls. Trumbo, a 2-out single. He scored a run in the first, 1 for 2. Mark at 235 on the year. Coming at you. We're fine. We're fine. Nothing's broken. Here we go.
Shot it back out.
Did we? Wait a minute. We didn't even. Did it stay in here?
Coming in hot.
No, it went back down. Broken back to short. Amarista. Jerko. Humble beats it out. They get the force on Pennington. That's the first one that's been up here in the booth last couple of years. Usually the governor gets them, but we got that one. So they erase the leadoff man. 2 outs now. Trumbo on first for Miguel Montero. I noticed your old defensive instincts were of no help whatsoever.
I knew it wasn't coming my way. I was letting Steve Finley or Steve. There was a Steve by me, so Steve Finley, Berthume.
I'll tell you what. You know what?
Anytime there's a Steve by me, I'm always assuming they're going to make that play.
I let it come through because I learned my lesson in spring training at Salt River Field. Goldie hit one just like that. That was the second it was off his bat. I'm like, that's coming right here. And I didn't even have to move. I just put my hand up, tried to make the bare hand catch. I'm lucky it didn't break my hand.
Oh, man. I tell you what, you gave a great Richard Nixon on the helicopter impersonation right after. Arms up in the air.
We're out of here. Well, the show is being taped. 1-1 to Montero.
You were calm about it. That ball was coming up here in a hurry. Had some teeth on it.
Dude, this ain't my first rodeo. Well, the Goldie one came right out, and I reached up left hand, bare hand, and bang, got right on the. I was told by fairly unreliable source not to do that again, so maintain my poise.
Tried to jump on a slow breaking ball. Randy Johnson over there trying to get a $4 cold beer. Great bargains around the ballpark.
Double fisted.
Taking my shirt.
Oh, Joe West says strike 3. That's 4 strikeouts for Despaigne through 5. D-backs lead it 4-0. We're all right.
Nixon.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. It's fine. We're fine.
Baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox.
Home sweet home, Chase Field. D-backs lead the Padres 4-0 as we start the 6th inning. Come on out to Chase Field. Special night tomorrow. First the D-backs and the Padres, then stick around after the ball game. The Grammy Award-winning band, Third Day, They'll be playing after the game. More information, visit dbacks.com/concert. Alexi Amarista against Josh Colmenter. Colmenter has been terrific so far. He retired the first 7 he faced, gave up 2 singles in the third, and has retired the last 6 since then. Just 2 hits so far. And the velocity has been better. As you can see, the pitch count has not been an issue. He's at 60 right now through 5+.
Yeah, the pitch count has been outstanding for him. A couple first ball swingers up there.
Slow roller. Gregorius has to hurry. They throw on Amarista. And now we'll see a pinch hitter for Adrisamer Despaigne. There he is with Darren Balsley, the Padres pitching coach. And it's going to be Cameron Maben. He'll hit for the pitcher. So Despaigne is done. 4 runs, 3 earned on 5 hits in 5.
Well, I like seeing Didi throw across that diamond. He's got a fantastic arm.
Everywhere we go on the road and Didi plays, guys who have not seen him, they come up to you the next day or the day after and they go, wow, that Gregorius, he's pretty good out there. Cameron Maben. A season that started out with a lot of promise as a washed out over the summer. He's hit under $130 since the end of June, just reinstated from baseball's restricted list. He was returned to the lineup on Wednesday at Dodger Stadium, suspended 25 games without pay near the end of July after a positive test for an amphetamine. It was really a medication mix-up. There were some changes in the paperwork regarding some medication that Maben takes for attention deficit disorder. And when you change the prescription, you have to refile all the paperwork. He was not aware, and so there was some suspension, but he said, it's my bad. He was not trying to gain an edge. It was just a medical situation. But because of the paperwork involved, he had to be suspended. While he was out on that suspension, they have approved the medicine that he was suspended for. So he kind of got a raw deal on that, but he's back and ready to go. There's the manner of hitting, and that's been an issue.
Yeah, he looks totally out of sync up there at the plate.
Well ahead in the count, but he strikes out. 3 strikeouts for Colmenter, and quickly 2 down in the 6th.
He just blew that ball right by him, right down the middle of the plate.
Yoenis Solarte.
And that last at bat to Maben was the first 3-ball count that Colmenter's had all game.
A lot of concern about Josh after the rough day Sunday in Miami, but he has looked terrific tonight. Solarte singled his last time up, 1 for 2. He's a switch hitter. About 20 points better from the right-hand side, but as a left-hand hitter, that's where he's got most of his power. 7 of his 9 home runs, both with the Yankees and the Padres. And he will make pretty good contact up there. Not a ton of power, but he's got a good doubles type of swing, especially for Petco Park.
How good has Colmenter looked so far? I mean, he got spotted that 3 runs early in the ball game, and he's been a totally different pitcher out there this game.
How about that? Back-to-back strikeouts in the 6th. And Josh Colmenter rolling along, has retired 9 in a row. He leads it 4-0. Air conditioning cool plays of the game, and we go back to the outfield play of Inciarte and Peralta.
Oh, what a fantastic play right there by Inciarte, and then you see the gun arm right there by Peralta throwing all the way to third base to get Amarista at third. They are the dynamic duel.
New pitcher for the Padres. After they hit for Despagne, this is the left-hander Frank Garces, pitched on Tuesday against the Dodgers. Just called up this week from AA San Antonio. His first major league experience. And he worked a scoreless inning with a strikeout at Dodger Stadium. Not bad. Had a 2.07 ERA in 47 relief appearances with AA San Antonio this year.
He's got a pretty good fastball. Throws it in the low 90s. Curveball and a changeup.
Marte. Oh, Jed Jerko. Little redemption there for the Padres second baseman. Top shelf glove save and a beauty.
Broken bat right there off the end. Couldn't have got any higher to get that ball right there. I hate to see him make that play on Marte. He was looking forward to getting that hit right there.
By the way, during the commercial break, I got a text from Bob Brenly watching.
Right.
And he's once again, don't count on Gonzo to play defense.
Well, he knew that right out of the gates.
He's lighting me up, though. He goes, I leave for one day and the fielding percentage in the booth goes down.
Spoken like a true catcher, right?
He's enjoying some well-deserved time off.
I told you, he was a smart manager. He knew where to put me, man. He put me out there and told me to play the line and let Steve Finley run around out there and get everything else.
Jake Lamb singled and scored in the second. He struck out looking his last time up. Another strikeout, says Joe West. Bob Brenly bobblehead day coming up, alumni night. Don't forget, a week from tomorrow, August 30th, the D-backs and the Rockies. And some of the players will be back for the alumni game after everyone at the Rockies game gets the BB bobblehead. David DeLucci, Steve Finley, Travis Lee, Brandon Webb, Mike Morgan, Rodrigo Lopez, Junior Spivey, Reggie Sanders. I got a question for you, oh captain, my captain.
Sure.
I think it's only fair that you go out and insert yourself into left field in the alumni game and show us if your defense has improved at all.
I've played the last two out in left field.
Well, I know, but it's an opportunity. You could claim, well, I'm the captain, I have to supervise things. You're gonna go out there and put on the glove again?
Unless there's if I can find a younger guy to run out there to left field.
I don't think that's going to happen. Alumni game Saturday the 30th. After the game against the Rockies, Bob Brenly bobblehead day. We'll be wearing the throwback purple and teal. dbacks.com/tickets, and we hope to see you here. It should be really, really fun. It was a great time last year. The Governor Greg Schulte and I will be doing a special broadcast on the website for that as well. So we got full coverage planned. So if you do go out there and screw one up, we're going to have all kinds of replays and stuff.
I'm sure you'll let me know about it too.
3-1.
Gauntlet coming back in here.
A 2-out walk.
Hey, Bert, anytime the D-back scores 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. the following day at participating locations. A nice way to start off the weekend going over to Taco Bell.
That'll kill BB. If he misses a taco night, no vacation is worth that. Cole Mentor, a base hit to center field his last time up. So the Diamondbacks, after getting a 2-out walk to the number 8 hitter, able to clear the pitcher spot here. Drives one into center. A little flare for Venable. And they strand that 2-out walk. We are through 6. Josh Comenter and the D-backs lead it 4-0. Comenter working on a 2-hit shutout. He retired the first 7 he faced tonight, gave up a pair of singles in the third, but since then he has retired 9 straight San Diego Padres, and he is Luis Gonzalez, our APS Energy All-Star.
Yeah, he's definitely done a good job here. You see him early in the ball game establishing a good changeup. Then he comes right back on Seth Smith, the high fastball. And then once again to Maben, another fastball right down the middle.
And no concerns after the start Sunday in Miami about injury or arm fatigue or innings. He has looked terrific here. He'll work to Abraham Almonte, Seth Smith, and Jed Jerko 2, 3, and 4 in the San Diego 7th. Very consistent and efficient.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely important that our team came out and jumped out on him early to score those 3 runs. That made him relax that much more and not have to be so precise and pinpoint out there, especially when a team has played as poorly as they did on the road, didn't get a lot of wins. To come out here and establish early, he's able to just go out there and throw the ball and not have to worry about hitting locations and not walking guys, just going right after hitters.
Diamondbacks with 3 runs in the first, all with 2 outs. An RBI single by Mark Trumbo, a 2-run homer by Miguel Montero, and then added 1 more in the second. And it's 4-0. And Josh Comenter is making it stick. That is 3 straight strikeouts now for Comenter, 5 in the game. He's retired 10 in a row.
And there he is, just going with a fastball down in the zone. Him and Miggy seem to be on the same page today from the first pitch. There's that shift again, once again.
Seth Smith has flat out and struck out 0 for 2.
What do you think I'd be doing right here?
Hunting?
Oh, no doubt.
Josh Comenter. Rolling along ahead 0-1.
I mean, you're trying to get on base, right?
That's the idea.
Unless you're for sure going to hit one out of the ballpark, just take the base hit.
Crack staff tells me you only had 10 career bunts for hits.
Yeah, that's 10 more than some of these other guys got out there.
Well, Josh Comenter bidding for his 2nd career shutout. It would be his 2nd this season. You'll remember that outstanding ball game here. He pitched against the Reds at Chase Field back on May 29th. When he faced only 27 batters, gave up 3 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Had some double play balls behind him. He worked the minimum in throwing a 3-hit shutout, and he's working on a 2-hit bagel here with 2 outs in the 7th. Here's Jerko, 0 for 2.
Hey, those bunt hits were late in my career, too, when they were trying to do the shift on me. I promise you that.
Late great Tony Gwynn in the hearts of so many Padre fans. We were in San Diego the night the Padres had that memorial service for Tony Gwynn at Petco Park. They did an outstanding job with it. And it was quite a night. Didi Gregorius, stop it! Josh Comenter, a 2-hit shutout. He has retired 12 in a row, and he's had some terrific defense behind him, like some that we just saw from the rookie shortstop, and he leads it 4-0. In center, David Peralta has thrown out a runner at third from right field. And how about that, Joe Borowski, from Didi Gregorius?
Absolute cannon. You got to love his arm. He has great range, great hands, but his arm, it's just got absolute cannon over there.
An 80 arm, say all the scouts, who grade on a 20 to 80 scale. We're back home. That means Joe is back with us. And how about all the concerns less than a week ago about Josh Comenter? Maybe he's got a dead arm. Maybe he needs to be shut down. Well, it's hard to do better than he's done tonight.
What a difference a start makes. But there's two things that really pop out at me. And one is he's locating the ball so well tonight. But the other is the tilt that he has on the ball. He's got great downward plane. It's not flat. If you look back in his last start, a lot of his pitches were flat. It gives the hitter, and Gonzo, you know this, if a ball's coming in flat, you have more time to hit it through the hitting zone because it's flat. But if it has good downward tilt to it, you have to be right on it in order to put good wood on it.
Yeah, and I think he started out real good throwing that changeup early in the ballgame, and that puts it in a lot of the hitters' minds, knowing that he's throwing that pitch for a strike.
Comenter so far has retired the last 12 he's faced. He's given up only 2 hits, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. Ender Inciarte reached on an error and stole a base back in the second. He's 0 for 3.
And you throw on top of that with Josh, he's just being so efficient. He's not going very deep into counts. 81 pitches through 7 innings. I'll take that any day of the week.
And so will the Diamondback bullpen. So hopefully Josh will be able to close it out. And check the pitch count. Little flare to shallow center. The Venables there. Your impressions of the Odyssey that we just came back from.
It's always tough, especially when you have a young team going on a three-city road trip, 2 4-game series, and you're losing games, tight games, 1-run games. That could be very debilitating to the psyche of a lot of young guys because you're in the game. You're so close to winning those games, but it's also a learning process. You learn what you need to do in order to win those types of games. And you can only do that with putting them out there and giving them the experience.
A walk-off loss in Cleveland, a walk-off loss in Miami, 3 walk-off losses in Washington. That's a lot of emotion.
Oh, absolutely.
For one road trip. Del Nuno pitched a terrific ball game his last time out. And the ground is short. Alexi Amarista behind the ball. 2 down. Well, it's that time again, fans. Let's show you what Gonzo and I have selected. We were able to work on this between innings during the commercial breaks, the AT&T fan photo contest, and we went with the Goldie bleacher creature. Joey, nice job here.
Yep, we dug through the files there and pulled that one out.
Sedona red, the D-back giveaway item, the Goldie photo, the logo, it's all in there. Nice job, Joey. And thanks to all of you who tweeted in your fan photo. Keep them coming. And we'll do the best we can while Bob Brenly is, well, he's away at a secret location. Undisclosed location. Just like Dick Cheney. 0-1. David Peralta. Peralta struck out his last time up. Had a triple and scored a run back in the first.
Garza so far it looked like he's given our lefties quite a bit of trouble up there with that curveball. See if Peralta can make an adjustment.
This is with a fastball away. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Going back there again. Puts it out over the plate. It's bounced to first. Gobert will take it himself. And Joe, that's a 1-2-3 7th. We'll see you on Diamondbacks Live.
Thanks, guys.
Josh Colmenter trying to finish this one off. He's got 6 outs to get. He leads it 4-0. And read it after the game at FoxSportsArizona.com. Post-game analysis and reaction. Randy Hill reports on the Mercury playoff opener. That's going on right now against the LA Sparks. I have, I don't know if you were aware, Gonzo, I have guaranteed a WNBA championship this year.
I like it. I like the confidence.
Greg Morgan on
well.
What jobs are at stake in the Cardinals-Bengals game Sunday night. That's all at FoxSportsArizona.com. Yeah, the Mercury and the Sparks kicking off the WNBA postseason tonight just across the street.
You have the coach of the year there, defensive player of the year.
My wife, who's a great WNBA expert, tells me that it's really going to come down to the Western final between, we assume, Phoenix and Minnesota. Minnesota has Maya Moore, the great UConn player. And then once the Mercury are done cleaning up Minnesota, they'll go on, probably win the finals in a sweep, and we'll have a parade.
There you go.
Yasmani Grandal, Jake Gobert, Will Venable, 5, 6, and 7 in the San Diego 8th. Comenter has retired the last 12 he's faced. Working on a 2-hit shutout. And the defensive shift is on again for Grandal, the switch hitter. This one's yours.
No, you're okay. We're all right.
Did
you
you
got me a little edgy over here now?
Let me just say, did you, when you were in the field, did you have a first step?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Comenter gets the strikeout. That's 6 for Josh. Make it 13 in a row. Retired.
Fans, catch all the second half action on MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD over 400 devices. Visit dbacks.com for details.
The strikeout of Grandal.
Nice pitch, nice location on that lefty, down under his hands.
Gobert 0 for 2. He's got a little 4-game hit streak on the line. Had a couple of triples in the Padres series at St. Louis. Yonder Alonso is out for the year. He's got a torn tendon in the top of his right forearm. It's a really bad injury. And so the Padres, much like the Diamondbacks, getting an extended look at some young guys, and that includes Gobert, who they acquired from Oakland in the trade for Kyle Blanks back in May. Alonso's season just wrecked by injuries. Bud Black has had to deal with more than any manager should have to this year. Alonso still trying to get over a bad wrist injury earlier, and now he's got a torn tendon in his forearm. It's just horrible. So they're getting a look at Gobert at first. Tommy Medica plays over there somewhat too. A mix of young guys. Comenter at 90 pitches, 60 for strikes. Easy fly ball to Ender. Inciarte has been busy out there tonight. 2 down in the game. Comenter 4 outs away.
Well, they haven't really gotten many good swings off him. The hardest ball hit off of Comenter tonight was a line drive right back at him in the first inning, first batter of the game.
Solarte, yeah. So there's 2 singles in the third. Amarista with 1 out. And Solarte with 2 outs, and on that play, Amarista was thrown out by Peralta in right field, trying to get into third base. And that has been all the offense for the Padres. Venables 0 for 2. Boy, Venable, 5 homers and 25 RBIs this year. Last year had 22 home runs, a career high, 53 RBIs. They're trying to get him on track. Called strike 3. Ring him up. 7 strikeouts for Josh Comenter. He's retired 15 in a row. And the Diamondbacks lead it 4-0. Central Link, your link to what's next. Trumbo, Montero Marte in the Arizona 8th. Tomorrow, MLB on Fox Sports 1, a doubleheader, Giants and Nationals. San Francisco beat Doug Fister there tonight. And then the Braves battled the Reds. Mike Minor had a no-hitter in the 8th. Billy Hamilton broke it up in that game. So a lot of reasons to watch. Giants, Nats, Braves, Reds tomorrow. It all starts 12:30 on Fox Sports 1. Streams live on Fox Sports Go. We go to the 8th. New pitcher for the Padres is the left-hander Alex Torres. He'll face Mark Trumbo, Miguel Montero, and Alfredo Marte, 4, 5, and 6 in the Arizona 8th. 57th appearance of the year for Torres, who, as you'll recall, wears that protective cap on the top of his head. He's got the protective hat, which doesn't look great, but is effective. And there's a strike to Trumbo.
I want to get a quick shout out to the Arizona 13U Babe Ruth team from Scottsdale Mesa Chandler. They're playing in the World Series tonight against a team from Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, they lost, but they made it all the way to the championship.
How about that, huh?
A lot of good things to be proud of with that team. 13U Babe Ruth team out of Arizona. The future is bright here in Arizona. Some good young players.
Will Venable in center field with Trumbo up there, playing shaded over toward the pool. Just a little bit in right center field. So look at that gap for Mark in left center. That shows you how much other teams have noticed that Trumbo is going the other way a lot. And that's one thing we've seen a lot from Trumbo. He will consistently hit the ball to right field or lay off the pitch and take his walks when teams pitch him down and away. And that's why one reason we haven't seen so many home runs lately, but Mark has been more consistent up there as he strikes out to open up the 8th.
Fans play Kachinko by signing up at one of 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Arizona Diamondbacks regular season home game. You ever play that?
BB has a couple in his house.
Does he?
Yeah, he's got 2. Plays it all the time.
Never been invited over there.
It's hard. You got to get on the list.
It's on the friend list.
It's one of those velvet rope deals where you show up and there's a guy out in front and there's a rope, and if you're not on the list, you're not getting in. Miguel Montero, his 13th home run of the year, with 2 outs in the first off the foul pole, and this one just bangs the gong. D-backs got 3 in the first and 1 in the second. Here's a fly ball. It backs up Almonte. Still backing up in left. And he won't get there. It's off the wall. Montero is in at second. Well, the Padres made a deal with the Seattle Mariners on trade deadline day. They sent Chris Denorfia to Seattle, and they got Abraham Almonte. He's supposed to be a pretty good defensive outfielder, not so much on this one.
Well, he had it tracked out. Unfortunately, you start feeling that wall coming up on you.
I don't think he ever touched it.
No,
he whiffed and then did the face plant into the wall. And that has scored a double for Montero, so that's Miggy's 21st double of the year. He's got a homer, a walk, and a double tonight with some help from Abraham Almonte. Fiesta forever. Got an up close and personal look at the signage out there.
Yeah, a couple more feet over, he would have had a nice taste of that margarita sitting right there.
A 1-out double for Montero. Here's Alfredo Marte.
That's a good sign for Miggy. I mean, he's used all fields today, left field and right field. He's done a great job this year making adjustments. Last year, seemed like he was trying to pull every single ball. This year, he's used a lot more of the other side of the field, which is left field and left center.
How does that change his swing, that approach?
Well, you know, for him, you know, when you're struggling like he was last year, he was trying to pull everything and swing harder, even with 2 strikes. This year, he's a little more relaxed, and he's taking what the team gives you. If you get a pitch out over the outer half, just shoot the ball to left field, and that's what he's been able to do this year.
He's had a terrific bounce-back season. Already passed his totals in just about every offensive category. Doubles, homers, RBIs. And all while being, with the exception of Salvador Perez in Kansas City, the busiest catcher in the major leagues. Randall Delgado was warming in the Sanderson Ford bullpen, with Josh Coleman working on a 2-hit shutout.
It's a given for Miggy. Miggy's always one of those guys that likes to carry the workload. He wants to be out there every single day if you let him.
And he pretty much has been. Alfredo Marte swings like that a lot. Is there a way to get him to calm down up there and not swing so hard all the time? Speaking to what you were just talking about with Miggy, I think we see a lot of that with Marte this year.
Yeah, a lot of those guys, they come over, they're free swingers when they get up there. It works down in the minor leagues, AAA, AA, but these guys up here, they know how to change speeds a little bit better, and they're more pinpoint with their location. Good pitchers thrive on that hitter's aggressiveness.
Well, oftentimes, as Joe West grants late time, it has worked against Marte, who in 13 games since his latest recall from AAA Reno, 10 of them starts, has hit about 160. And he's 0 for 3 today. And he's been striking out a lot now, 10 strikeouts in his last 40 at-bats. There it is again, off balance, the feet come jumping up and down, he's hopping up there and he's taking that big wild swing. And that has been consistent with Alfredo since we first saw him last year.
Yeah, here you see he's got the little leg kick, but motion going on there once he lets it go.
When he connects, it goes. He's got a lot of power in there. And hit very well at Reno this year. .319 with 11 homers. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Almost looks like a Julio Franco when he's up there at the plate with
a
the bat up in the air and kind of tucked a little bit.
Josh Coleman, 3 outs away from a 2-hit shutout. We'll see if he comes back out. Randall Delgado looks ready down there in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Marte knocks that into right, a base hit. Montero stops at third. They're on the corners with 1 out now for Jake Lamb. Jake singled and scored in the second. He struck out both in his 2 previous at-bats. So he's now at 195 on the year. And a pair of hits in the Miami series, had a 2-hit game at Cleveland.
See if we can get a big hit here. We've had tacos only once this month. August 9th was the last time we've had tacos. We're a little taco hungry up here.
We're always hungry for tacos up here.
Jake Lamb can put us over the top.
Now, when you say his hands are up awfully high,
well, I think his hands are back a little bit too far for me.
Back from his body?
When he gets set up, his hands are more towards the catcher, way back, and that's a long way you got to come to make an adjustment, especially with a guy that's bringing it up a little bit faster than what you're anticipating. See his hands, how far back they are?
Got a little Carl Yastrzemski in that stance.
Body's turned a little bit. See that pitch right there? That ball was on top of him before he got moving. And he'll learn as time goes on. He'll start making adjustments. But the games that I've seen when you guys were on the road, a lot of teams are pitching him in. Because most left-handed hitters like that ball out and away over the outer half of the plate.
So if they pitch him in and he's got his hands all the way back and he's got so far to bring them,
it's hard for him to get extended.
Work down and away here on 1-1.
Well, that happened to me early in my career. I was a dive hitter, and then later on I learned how to open up a little bit more and turn my back leg. So those pitches that were in, now I could start to get to them, and I started hooking them up in the seats.
Dive hitter?
I was a dive hitter. I used to dive towards shortstop and third base, being a left-handed hitter, and those teams would pitch me hard in, soft away. The teams that were pitching me hard in, I'd get those broken bats and balls off my knuckles.
Swings through the 2-1 pitch.
See right there, he was cheating. His front shoulder comes. Watch his front shoulder here on this replay. His front shoulder is going to fly out. His hands are back. They're going to. He's cheating in, and that ball's away. See, his front shoulder flies out. Everything else goes with it. It's because teams have been pitching him in. Now he's thinking inside, and they went back away on him.
So how do you get him to, a term we hear all the time, shorten up his swing?
You just got him to think. Go back up the middle. Don't try to do too much. Just stay to the middle of the field. Left center, right center. He's a guy that's not very accustomed to striking out a lot. He's got quite a few more strikeouts now than he's ever had.
He's crushing it at Double-A Mobile this year. Jake hit .318, 35 doubles, 14 homers. He's slugged over .550. 79 RBIs in 103 games.
See that ball in on his hands.
And roll over to second. And can turn 2. Montero scores from third. It's 5-0.
He got the run in. He did a good job there battling with 2 strikes. Once again, they pitched him in. He couldn't get his hands out.
Two outs, Lamb the runner at first. Here's Didi, who walked his last time up. He's 0 for 2. This ball is well hit. Right center field. Venable on the run, and he tracks it down. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Alexi Amarista leads off the 9th. Will we see Josh Colementor try and complete the shutout? Find out when we come back. Josh Colementor 3 outs away from what would be his second career shutout and his second this season. He has retired the last 15 Padres he's faced. He's given up only 2 hits, both singles in the third. He's got 7 strikeouts.
Boy, he's been effective all night long. You see pitching down in the zone, up in the zone. Everything has been around the plate. Him and Miguel Montero making the same calls tonight.
Josh Colementor searching for his first win since July 20th here at Chase Field. That was against the Cubs. 7 innings of 4-hit ball so far, 8 innings of 2-hit ball. And he'll face Alexi Amarista to lead off the 9th. The pitcher spot is due up next for San Diego, and Tommy Medica is out in the on-deck circle. And this is coming against a Padre team that has been playing pretty well here in the second half of the season. The 3rd best record in the National League since the All-Star break, 18-13. The Nationals and the Pirates, the only National League teams who have scored more runs than the Padres in the second half of the year.
I think tonight what we're seeing is the old Josh Colmenter, because there's not a lot of guys that have been getting good swings off of him.
Base hit to center.
Just as I say that, first hard hit ball since the first hit of the game.
And the second hit for Amarista, the leadoff man aboard in the ninth. That snaps a string of 15 straight set down by Colmenter. And here's Tommy Medica to hit for the pitcher.
Pinch hitting for Alex Torres, number 14, Tommy Medica.
Mike Harkey a quick visit. Colmenter right now 97 pitches, 67 for strikes. Chasing what would be his second career shutout and his second this year after he faced the minimum on May 29th here at Chase Field against the Reds. 3 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts, and a few double play balls behind him, so he worked to only 27 batters in the ball game. The last pitcher in the major leagues with at least 1 save and 2 shutouts in the same season was Jeff Weaver back in 2002.
Definitely earned his pay today. He's only had 1 3-ball count in the whole ball game.
Medica 2 hits in his last 27 at bats. He'll hit for the pitcher.
Tell you the way Colmenter's been throwing, it'd be nice to get a double play for him right here.
0-2.
So that's 86, and he threw that by him like he was throwing 90 plus.
How does he get away with that?
He's very deceptive to these hitters, especially guys that haven't seen him that much.
About to throw pitch number 100. The last time Colmenter threw 100 pitches in a ball game was July 9th. A no decision against the Marlins here at Chase Field over the course of 7 innings of work. And he has maintained his velocity from the first to the ninth, and that's especially encouraging considering his diminished velocity his last time out Sunday in Miami.
Yeah,
that's a big concern.
And I think they planned for extra rest with him with a no bullpen session, and the way it's worked today, you can almost count on him doing that again.
He had a difficult start his last time out. You won't find a bigger contrast than Colmenter's last 2 starts. Sunday at Miami, 5 runs, 7 hits. He lasted only 4 innings, gave up 2 long home runs in the first, Stanton and Jones. But so far tonight, only 3 hits. Medica just does stay alive.
Boy, Colmenter and Chris Young have a lot in common. The way they pitch, right over the top, kind of hide the ball. Chris Young, the pitcher now with the Seattle Mariners, was a guy who used to pitch here for the Padres. He's having a fantastic year also. Has a chance for comeback player of the year in the American League. Him and Colmenter have the same style.
There's the strikeout. That's 8 for Josh Colmenter. Ties a career high. At Philadelphia 2011, 8 strikeouts for Josh Colmenter, and now he's got 8 here tonight against the Padres with 1 out in the ninth. Top of the order now, Yangervis Solarte. Solarte singled in the third. He's 1 for 3.
fans wanted that pitch.
Flare to center. It's going to drop in for a base hit. And Amarista will stop at second. And Colemencher, who had given up only 2 hits through 8 innings, has given up 2 hits here in the 9th. And now Kirk Gibson starts pacing in the dugout.
Left fielder.
D-backs bullpen has been busy. You know he wants to let Coley finish this out if he can, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's at 106, so here comes Gibby to get him.
That's going to be it. Josh Colemencher. Fans here want to see Josh get the chance to finish this thing out, but Kirk Gibson is not going to chance it here. He works 8 1/3 innings of shutout baseball. Gives up only 4 hits, ties a career high with 8 strikeouts, and he leaves to a standing L. His second career shutout, and it would have been his second this year. Leaves responsible for 2 base runners after 8 1/3. What a night for Colemencher. But who will leave it up to Matt Stites, the rookie right-hander. This is a guy who has looked better and better lately, and it seems like Gibby has more faith in Matt Stites, as Matt Stites has learned to have more faith in himself, throwing harder with a lot more confidence, more aggressive attacking hitters up there. And he's got Amarista, the runner, at second, Solarte at first, 1 out. And he'll work to Abraham Almonte. First base, Trumbo, Gregorius, Stites covers. Almonte with good speed beats it out.
Boy, that's being effective with your pitches, just coming in there and getting one and almost getting a double play to end the ball game. Nice play by Trumbo. Good feed over to Didi.
Almonte runs well. That was going to be a tough one to turn. Diamondback Live post-game show. Cindy Brunson, Joe Borowski follows our broadcast. Amarista now at third, Almonte aboard at first. 2 down for Seth Smith. And the Diamondbacks with runners in the corners will not put on the defensive overshift. One concern for Kirk Gibson, certainly, and it's the same that it was on Sunday in Miami about Josh Colemencher. The innings, it's a lot compared to last year. That one gets by Montero. Here comes Amarista, and there goes the shutout.
Stites a running fastball. Ball just kept running and maybe barely got a glove on it.
Pass ball. Diamondbacks with only 3 pass balls all season. That is the fewest in the major leagues. 2 for Miggy and 1 for Tuffy. This should do it. A little flare to short left. Sue wants it. Gregorius calls for it. It's Marte, and the Diamondbacks snap their 6-game losing streak. They win it 5-1. Matt Stites comes in and closes it out for Josh Colmenter, who was absolutely sensational here tonight.
Well, a good win for the Diamondbacks right there. Something that they needed. Good to be back home for the D-backs.
Josh Colmenter, all the concerns about having to shut him down seem to have been alleviated here tonight. He was outstanding, and the Diamondbacks get the win to open up the homestand. Diamondbacks Live postgame show with Cindy Brunson, and Joe Borowski follows right after this.